Meditation was a new idea for me. Um, Even though I knew of people who'd done it and people in my life that also recommended giving it a go, I never really kind of gave into the idea of it being something that. Also, the idea of trying to quiet my mind and how do I stop these thoughts, it just seemed impossible. And then I guess through starting to kind of open myself up to the idea and start playing with it, then I kind of realized that that wasn't even the point. you know, that we think we can't meditate because it seems impossible to be able to do something that isn't even the point to be able to do. Anyway, so basically it started with me doing like a 5-minute meditation in the mornings and 5 minutes in the evening. And it was all guided meditation because I felt like I needed that assistance. And that kind of led to me getting more comfortable with it. And then my sessions would kind of get a little longer with the guided meditation. I just found something on YouTube, but really. And then I kind of, as I started getting more comfortable with it, I kind of realized I wanted to stay in that meditation for a little longer. And I found a little side track on the side, binaural beats, and I'd play those. And that would kind of help as well. But basically just learning how to observe my thoughts and not so much trying to stop them. Stopping them, or I shouldn't even say stopping them, but when they stopped, that came naturally. It didn't come with me trying to do anything. All I was trying to do was maybe just learn to calm myself, or just maybe just rather getting comfortable with the idea of being in that moment, Anyway, as the time went on, I started trying different things, and during that, it was a 30-day. I've got some hair floating around on me, mine or my dog's. Anyway, it was a 30-day meditation challenge, and during those 30 days, that's what introduced me to the chakra meditation. So I'd come across chakras some time ago, but I never really gave it much mind back then. There was a curiosity, but not enough to really kind of get me to dig a little deeper. But I went with this challenge, and it focused, or rather started on the root chakra. That was easy enough. And, moving up through the sacral chakra and then into your solar plexus and then the heart chakra. And I could not do that meditation. I sat in that moment and I started it. I tried. And I knew what the purpose or the point was. Also, during the introduction of what the purpose and the point was, I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm ready to do this. I'm not ready to heal. I'm not ready to be okay, because, so many of us get so attached to our pain. It defines us. It becomes the biggest part of who we are, and we don't know who we are without it, and we don't know how to define ourselves without it, and we just get so attached to our pain. I knew that doing that chakra meditation was going to lead to, firstly, some release of that pain and acceptance of that pain. And eventually it wasn't going to be this huge part of my life anymore, and I just wasn't ready to let go of it. So I left it for that day. I decided I'd come back to it. I moved on to my throat chakra, and then I think after my throat I came back to the heart chakra meditation. And it was difficult. And they're talking about unconditional love. And I'm like, hell to the no. I don't unconditionally love anything or anyone. I didn't even love myself. Never mind unconditionally love myself. So it was a very for me, a groundbreaking moment. That was my biggest blockage, I feel. And eventually I got through that, and the release, the pain, it was difficult, but it also felt very cleansing and refreshing in a sense. Like, almost like some of it had kind of just, that weight was just not as heavy as it was before. So I started doing more of the chakra meditations, and I just really, I really enjoyed the process of going through each of those, mostly because I like the idea that they drew my attention to each of the parts of me that were hurt or not okay. And I didn't even believe in the energy stuff. None of that mattered at that point. It was just about the healing. Or rather bringing my attention to each of those broken sides of myself that needed, or that I felt that I needed to kind of pay some close attention to. Then after that, I was introduced to this breathwork course by a friend. And I remember I didn't read up on it. I didn't even listen to the introductory video before the course. It was a 5-day breathwork course. I didn't look, or I had no information. Let me just say that. I had no information, so I had no expectations. And because I had no information or expectations, what came next was all the more beautiful. Just because it didn't happen because I was trying to make it happen. It just happened, and I was like, what is happening? It was so uncomfortable. So let me get into that. So the first day of the breathwork course, you do about 20 minutes of the breathing part, and then about 10 minutes of the relaxation portion that comes after the breathing. And basically with the breathing, you take a half a breath into your stomach, half into your chest, and then you release. All of this is happening through your mouth. So like that for about 20 minutes. And it's really difficult because you're trying to relax at the same time, and you're trying to relax your mind. It's getting really noisy around here. Trying to relax not your mind, your eyes, the muscles around your eyes, the muscles around your mouth, your ears, your head. And you're just constantly trying to be mindful not to tense up, but all your body wants to do is tense up because it's quite uncomfortable to breathe like that. Anyway, after the breathing portion, during the relaxation portion, again, I wasn't trying anything. I just followed the instructions. I relaxed, brought my attention to relaxing my eyes, muscles around my eyes, my head, my ears, my jaw, and the rest of my body, palms of my hands, soles of my feet, etc. And I noticed this, firstly, my mind kind of got a little more silent. Secondly, or not silent, but I think I just became more aware of my thoughts. I'd been practicing it on the bus for a while and wherever else. And I think in that moment, I just became more aware of the consciousness behind the thoughts. Anyway, as I relaxed into it, I realized I didn't need to breathe anymore because my body was so full of oxygen. So I just stopped. Eventually that picked up again, but very calmly and slowly. There was never a point where it felt kind of urgent. I'm trying to block the wind from the mic. Where it felt urgent. And this energy came over me. At the end of it, I felt, as he rang a gong, it was like I was plugged into the wall. It was just so intense and so uncomfortable. And as he rang it louder and louder, it just got more intense and more uncomfortable. And I wanted it to stop, but at the same time, it felt like I could shoot energy balls like Goku from the palms of my hands. It was so intense. Anyway, the next the next day was something similar, but I felt this heat in my head and my neck, my shoulders moving down or fading down into my chest. And I like I read about it afterwards, and it said somewhere that the heat was the release of your pain, and that's what, the point or the purpose of this breath work is. It did feel very strange, but whether it was or wasn't isn't even really the point. The point is just the way my body was responding to this breath work and to this meditation, and it was just a very interesting transformational time for me. The third day, there was this, wow, something really strange happened on the third day. There was a light that was shining out of my forehead, almost like from my third eye, if I could explain it that way. So from about here, shining out of my forehead and hovering above my body. It didn't take the shape or form of anything. It was just a light that was hovering above my body. And then there was a knowing. It wasn't a belief. It wasn't a thought. It was a knowing that the light is me and that the light is also within me. I didn't understand it at that time. And when I wrote in my diary, I explained it exactly as I'm explaining it now. And it was less than a page of writing. And eventually at the end, I was like, I don't have anything more to say about this because I genuinely don't understand what it is or what it means. It just moved on. And the next day I gave the meditation a go again. And this day was interesting because on top of the energy and the heat, because the heat and the energy were there every day from the point that they first came, there was also this love that was pouring out of me. It was like an expansive love of everything, unconditional, of everything. When I say everything, I mean like the buildings of everything, of the lights, of the people, of every person, every creature, every object, every thought, everything. I mean, I can't even begin to start trying to list what everything is. When I say everything, I mean absolutely everything. Maybe that my mind can comprehend, or even beyond that, I don't know. Like I said, all of this was a very new experience for me and very uncomfortable, but interesting at the same time. And the love was so big that I remember it pouring. It was just like I was like this fountain, and the love was just pouring out of me. Like if you can picture a fountain, it was just pouring out of me like that. But it was so much that it surrounded the entire planet. And I mean, I didn't think too deeply about it. I mean, all of this, I'm still trying to unpack these moments. I've had more moments during my meditations. I'll touch on one just briefly before I end this video. But it was just, yeah, I don't even know what else to say about it. It pouring out of me, surrounding the planet. And I know now that if I could hold this stuff, this love, this whatever inside of me, then there must be so much more that I never tapped into that day. That must have been a drop in the ocean compared to the way we view our relationships. What was I trying to say? So that must have been a drop in the ocean compared to what really exists, and the way we view our relationships and the way we relate to people, and we love our parents and our significant others or whoever else is in our lives is nothing compared to what I felt. So it was just a really, really beautiful moment. Anyway, one of the stranger things that happened during one of my later meditations, I always felt like I had a semi-good intuition, or semi-strong or on-point intuition. My mom's always been really intuitive as well. But I never linked it to any of the spiritual stuff. It was just something that I knew about myself, and that, it was just a part of everyday life. Now that I'm exploring it with spirituality, it's so different now, because it kind of means a lot more, and I want to invest a lot more in it. Anyway, I thought that my intuition was kind of fading, or not as strong as it had been in the past, and so I wanted to find some way to kind of train it. So I was doing lots of third eye and crown chakra meditations, and one of them ended up with me speaking to my spirit guide. Again, I will emphasize that I don't know how true any of this is, or how real any of this is. And I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm just saying I'm still figuring it out for myself. So I'm just sharing my journey. That's the point of this whole channel, is me sharing that journey. Anyway, and my mind again was completely blank during that meditation. I'm sitting across from my spirit guide, and silence. I'm waiting for them to give me this message, or a message. Nothing. Silence for a long time. Then suddenly in my mind, gunshots. And I'm like, I haven't been watching any violent series or anything like that. So I'm just like, how random are these gunshots? And I thought maybe I'm just bored waiting for a message, and so I just imagined these gunshots because I'm bored. But it still felt really random. Then that was on the Sunday. Then the Tuesday, I met for coffee with a friend who just returned from Greece. And she said that on the Sunday, she had a dream while she was on the plane about gunshots as well. And she's pretty intuitive as well. And she's had a number of dreams that have, come to fruition. And it scared her because she thought that it was about her. And for a moment, I did too. So we were both really nervous, and all of this is new for me. So I mean, even just the idea that it could have been some kind of message was just like, am I going to accept that? But how weird is it that both of us dreamt about, or not dreamt, but I had this message and she dreamt about gunshots on the same day. Anyway, then on the Wednesday, I get a call from my brother saying that my mom was in the mall and there was a heist, and she didn't know what was going on. She just heard people saying, run, run. So she ran and slid under the gate of one of the closing cell phone store gates, and they all hid in the back room with the door locked, whoever got into that store. A very terrifying moment for my mom. And she said all she heard was gunshots. And it didn't even click for me. I was just really afraid for her, but not afraid so much because the moment had passed, but it was just the shock of the fact that her life was in danger in that moment. And maybe an hour later, it dawned on me, hey, I had this weird little experience with my friend about gunshots. There were no people, just the sound of gunshots. And suddenly I started to kind of believe more in the possibility that it could have been a message that was communicated. Today, I still don't really know where I stand with everything, but like I said, I'm figuring it out. I'm exploring. I mean, just sharing this journey as somebody who's newly discovering this stuff. I really hope that there's, it gives me a lot to think about even today. Since then, a number of things have happened, and I mean, it makes it all real, but there's still a part of me that's very skeptical. So I guess I'm just kind of riding the wave. Hey, it's a fun journey anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess see you on the next one.